Welcome, and thank you for joining us for our overview of Xometry's injection molding and urethane casting, DFM and VQC process. In this video, we'll be going over the DFM and VQC processes using the provided slide templates, and along the way I'll also provide some tips and tricks to make sure these processes go as smoothly as possible. And with that, we're going to start off by doing a walkthrough of the Design for Manufacturing, or DFM process. So upon accepting an injection molding job from Xometry's job board, you can accept to receive an email from our team, which will provide the job ID and will contain the following items. So that would be the part or the part material and quantities, if the parts order is to follow, of course, part reorder prices, the Xometry case manager who will be assigned to the job. So they're going to be your contact if anything goes wrong throughout the life of the job, and a blank Xometry DFM and PEG slide template. Note that a slide template is also available in the Xometry community. So if you lost the email or whatever, you can always access that in the community as well. So once you've accepted the job and have received your follow-up email from your case manager, you are free to begin the DFM review. So the point of this review will be to identify any and all areas of concern on the models and prints that are provided. So for your reference, we have put together a fully completed sample template in PowerPoint form, which includes checklist and clearly identifies which areas we'll be expecting for your DFM review. So again, it's pretty straightforward. Fill in some of the information as provided. These are the kind of key areas that we're looking for in our DFM checklist. And then, of course, there's blank slides. The whole idea is that we really are just wanting you to provide screenshots of your CAD analysis of these parts, or any kind of assisting imagery or notes that you can do and provide to let us know what can we expect to see wrong with the part. So with that, let's kind of go over an example here. So the format of the DFM review is rather straightforward. Each slide in the template corresponds to different elements that should be highlighted in your review. You'll also note that we've provided a couple of helpful hints as well as some example CAD images and annotations corresponding to them. So using this blank template that I previously showed you, you'll want to add your own CAD images as I'm showing here, and make sure to capture all of the areas of concern as outlined in the helpful hints here. So just as kind of zeroing in on an example here, in this wall thickness analysis, we have, provided screenshots and zoomed in measurements showing, kind of areas of concern. And then we also pointed to key areas, added some notes that there's some riskier areas here that we should be concerned about, or at least aware of. So of course, where needed, you can duplicate slides if any additional room is required. So for example, in our template, our blank template, we do only provide one wall thickness analysis slide, but you can duplicate that if you do need an additional slide to fully capture the areas of concern. The DFM phase is also your opportunity to recommend any model changes that could improve manufacturability. Any change requests should be documented on the corresponding slide and may be clearly communicated to your case manager. I recommend you review Xometry's injection molding and urethane casting inspection guidelines at this point to review the model's manufacturability against these guidelines. So if there is any areas of concern, like you might anticipate excessive pin punch, or maybe excessive gas burn or anything like that, I would recommend that you make those change requests, request more drafts, anything like that to kind of mitigate these concerns. For any checklist items that do not have any outward DFM concerns, we still want you to insert any corresponding CAD image and simply note that there aren't any concerns. If there is any information, we will likely reach out to you to ask for clarification, so clearly indicate on the slide that there are no DFM concerns for that particular checklist item. Once you have completed your DFM, you should email the completed template to your Xometry case manager, as noted in the initial email you received earlier. At this point, the case manager will review the DFM, and the customer will determine if any changes are necessary to the model, based on their needs, of course. Typically, changes at this stage are minor, and if major changes are necessary, it might be necessary to requote. We try to avoid a requote as much as possible to save you time and money. However, a requote may be necessary if it's best for the customer's needs and depending on how concerning the original model was. Your case manager will facilitate this with you, so just kind of keep that in mind. You might be reaching back out from the case manager to hear if there's any next steps. Of course, if no changes are necessary, your case manager will give you the green light to proceed with producing your T1 samples. Once you have produced your T1 samples, you'll be moving on to the next phase of our workflow, which is our VQC, or Virtual Quality Control process. So VQC is a type of remote inspection that all injection molding and urethane casting partners are required to do with Xometry's quality inspectors. VQC will be required for all jobs relating to injection molding and urethane casting jobs, which would include any tooling, parts, part reorders, or engineering changes. So any job that you might be completing with Xometry, no matter the type, a VQC would be required. So like the DFM sample template that I showed you previously, our VQC sample template provides you with a simple checklist and clearly identified sections. So we also have provided great instructions to help you get started. Go ahead and read through them when it's time to complete your first VQC inspection, just to make sure you're doing everything correctly, prevent any hiccups moving forward. But then we have our little checklist here saying that we're looking for these items. And again, please indicate and provide imagery for any and every one of these items, even if there's not serious areas of concern, just to let us know that it is not in fact an area of concern. If you do not already have a copy of the blank VQC template, you can download this from the partner community as well, just like you can with the DFM template from earlier. Alrighty, and with that, let's jump back to the job board. So in your job board, you can access your current work. So this is any open work that you have with Xometry. This is right up here, the second tab. This has any work that you have accepted with us. This is our example. We have accepted this job, and at this point, I have already provided these updates, and I am all the way down to our VQC step. So at this point, we would need to probably identify what type of inspection is actually required. Now with Xometry, there are a couple of different types. So if we're looking at a formal inspection or a standard inspection, you might have to handle it a little bit differently. So let's figure out what type of inspection is required. So to do that, we can, in our current work, again, view job details. And then here we can scroll down to our parts section, and we can clearly see that we are expected to do a standard inspection. So in this example, it is required to do a standard inspection. No further action is needed. We can proceed on to our next steps. But if a formal inspection is required, which is a different type of inspection, you will first need to download the appropriate reports. There's special inspection reports, which you should be able to download here if it were a formal inspection type. And if you have not received those, you can get them from our quality team by emailing vqc@xometry.com, or you can even say request VQC on the previous page right here. At this point, no formal inspection is needed, so we don't have to worry about getting any additional documents here. It's really just time to move on to completing our template, our VQC template, so that we can upload this to the partner portal for our VQC review. I'm going to go ahead and go through the example here, just to kind of show you what we're looking for. So for example, we have these are kind of our current guidelines for inspections. So keep this in mind as you're reviewing and completing the VQC. So clearly, we want as large photos as possible. Clearly note any areas of concern if there are any. Nice and zoomed in, well lit. You can see here that we clearly identified these measurements as it related to the CAD model and as it measured after produced. So at this point, we will consider our inspection done, our VQC done. So I'm going to go ahead and upload this to the partner portal. I'm going to select upload file, and I will select my VQC example. Of course, if this were your job, you would select your own example here. And now it's actually accessible to our quality team, which is really great. At this point, you'll want to compile any other documents that might be necessary. So if there are any additional inspection reports in the case of a formal inspection, or if there is a certificate of conformance that is required, any material data sheets or lot info, and your quality control plan, that should all be included as well. And you can upload these documents in the same location here. Or add files here as well. You don't necessarily need to go right into that upload file. So there's a couple of ways that you can add these important documents to your VQC. After all inspection documents have been uploaded to the portal, please email vqc@xometry.com to notify them that your work is ready for quality review. Please note that VQCs must be uploaded by 12 p.m. Eastern Time for same-day inspection. Our quality team may reach out to you with any questions or if anything is missing or improperly filled out. Any necessary inspection changes or modifications will take time, so it's important to submit your VQC as soon as you are able in order to prevent any delays and to ship on time. The Xometry quality team will unblock your shipping for this job, and you'll be able to generate your shipping labels and proceed with shipping after you have cleared the VQC step. And with that, I want to thank you for tuning into this overview of Xometry's injection molding DFM and VQC processes. If you have any questions, we encourage you to visit us on the Xometry partner community. There you'll find a complete guide, FAQs, and live chat support, as well as a number of other partner resources that you can take advantage of. And of course, your case manager for your job, as you're working through a live job, completing this process real time, your case manager will be able to assist you with any technical details as well. Thank you. Have a good one.